Hey guys, wherever you are in this great world, happy Tuesday. This is Mitch Taco Bell. This is my show, Tall Tales with Taco. Cover a lot of different issues and different things with the military and whatnot. And tonight it's going to be a great interview with a good friend of mine, Ken Riege, who's the general manager of a comfort suites out in Gallup, New Mexico. Tell you what, it's just kind of cool. We both have a connection with a very special man who just recently passed. And if you watched my show a few weeks ago, I had maybe 3 months ago, I had Hersey Miyamura on. And you can see I still have his shirt, which Ken provided for me. And we both just absolutely adored and loved this gentleman. Ken and his wife got to hang out with Hersey on a regular basis up in Gallup. He's got some fantastic behind the scenes stories that we're just going to sit here and BS tonight and join us. I hope you enjoy it. Without further ado, Ken, how are you, brother?
Hey, how you doing, brother? Doing well, yeah.
Yeah, man. Happy New Year to you and your family.
And everybody. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to you and all your listeners out there. To be, honored to be on here today, my friend.
Yeah, I tell you what, I appreciate you coming on because over the years our friendship has developed. I've seen what you've done in your hotel and your tribute to the military, what you do for all of our vets up there in Gallup. It's really extraordinary. And your relationship with Hersey, we became friends through SkyBall because you were Hersey's caregiver and would always come out to SkyBall.
Yeah.
The big event that we had in Dallas, Fort Worth. Just always loved hanging out with you and Hersey because you were inseparable, one or the other, and Hersey was always like, I can't come out unless I have Ken with me, So it's always been a lot of fun, and you guys were at the hip. So you have got to see, you have been able to witness a lot of history and a lot of really unique individuals, Medal of Honor side. So I figure we bring this in, but let's first start out with you. What is your background with the military?
Okay. Well, I'm United States Air Force veteran. Spent 8 years active duty as a command post controller. And, spent 4 years at Tyndall Air Force Base in Panama City, Florida. And then when I re-enlisted, I went to Kelly Air Force Base in San Antonio and was there during Desert Storm. That's where I was stationed at. And then I got sent to... Well, originally, it's interesting because I had received orders to go to England. So, oh, man, this is cool. I'm going to Europe. Right. A few days after that, they got canceled. So I thought, well, maybe I'll go to Germany. Well, ended up going to Kunsan Air Base, South Korea. Was there for a year. Well, when I had first gone into the Air Force, my recruiter had been stationed at Kirtland Air Force Base in Albuquerque. And I'm originally from Ohio, so there's not a lot of mountains there. And I would just see these pictures of, the mountains and of course, going out, the guy had spent a lot of time in Colorado Springs. So he had some beautiful pictures of the Air Force Academy. And it's like, I want to get stationed there.
Right. So
finally got stationed at Kirtland Air Force Base and had met my wife, Retha, there in Albuquerque. And it was time for me to re-enlist again. I'd made E5, but I was like, I'm ready to get out. So got out of the Air Force, moved out here to Gallup, New Mexico, and just kind of worked at some different places. But when I started doing motels, I guess I've been doing that about 20 years now, managing motels. And especially when I came here to the Comfort Suites, it was just, I don't know, like that perfect fit. And so it's been here in Gallup for 30 years, I guess now. Retha and I have been married, be coming up on 30 years. When we had met, and like I said, it was actually, and a week later, I asked her to marry me. 2 months later.
A week, man. Yeah, you're not too proactive.
And 2 months later, we got married. So this coming July 30th will be our 30th anniversary. So
that's so awesome. Seriously, a week?
Yes, sir.
You met her and you said, I'm going to marry this woman?
Oh, yeah. I knew the moment we met. It was, place was called Midnight Rodeo. It was a country western place there in Albuquerque. And, when I first met her, and we always tease because we'll call it our love song, but it was "You Shook Me All Night Long" by AC/DC, because that was the first song we danced to. But so she's going to probably tell me something about it when she sees this. But like, what'd you say that for? But yeah, and when I would share that story with Hersey, he's like, well, when you know, things are meant to be, they're meant to be. And yeah, and I had tried every place I was stationed at, I would put in to get stationed at Kirtland and Albuquerque, because I wanted to go to Albuquerque. And Hersey would say, well, you didn't go to Albuquerque because it wasn't your time. When you went to Albuquerque was the time you were supposed to be there, because you were supposed to meet Rita.
Yeah, I was talking about that with the kids. There are certain reasons in life that you go through and God points, you turn left, you turn right, and you think at the time that it wasn't meant to be there. But because you went right, you ended up meeting your wife. And as I told the kids, had I, or I think I was telling my dad the other night, had I gone FedEx, flying for FedEx,
Yeah,
I wouldn't have come to Fort Worth. I wouldn't have met Teresa. I wouldn't have
exactly. Yeah,
3 beautiful kids and the life that I have. So yeah, I would have traded for the world, right?
oh, for sure. Yeah. And kind of even going on that too, it's, that I don't know if you want to go, and it's kind of a perfect segue with how I, got to know Hersey.
Yeah.
And, we were having our, sorry.
What is that?
Well, on the other side of the wall is the kitchen for the breakfast. So she's washing the dishes now. So sounds like she's throwing them from the top floor. But anyways, so yeah, when I had, we were having our grand opening for the hotel. Yeah, and I we have a lot of military groups that'll stay here in the summer, and used to be Air Force Air National Guard units, but the Navy Seabees took the project over a few years ago, and they work on homes out in the reservation. And I thought, I want to invite this man. I had never met a Medal of Honor recipient. I knew he lived here in Gallup. I'd known that, I'd probably been here about, I don't know, 15 years or so. And I knew of him, but I'd never met him.
Right.
So I just looked up in the phone book. Oh, his number's in the phone book. So I called, and then he answered, and I got scared and I hung up. And I just sat there for a bit in my office, and it's like, should I call him back? It's like, don't bother the man, leave him alone. So I waited a bit, and it's like, no, I'm going to call him again. So I called, and he answered. So I, I had kind of got my nerve up, called him again, and he answered, and, told him, hi, my name is, and, the manager of the Comfort Suites in Gallup, New Mexico. We just opened, and, we're having our grand opening, and it'd be so honored to have you come. He goes, yeah, sure. I'll go to your place. And I said, well, I can pick you up. And he goes, no, I'll drive. He goes, I drive past your hotel. There's a little place down the road past our hotel that we always called the house that Hersey built, which was our casino. He loved his casinos. So he came over to the hotel, and, we were chatting, and he goes, can I see a couple of your rooms? It's like, sure. Yes, sir. So I showed him a couple rooms, and then he had said, well, and that was in 2010. And he goes, in September, I have a bunch of friends coming, family coming, because then that's when they were doing the dedication for Miyamura High School. And he goes, I want them all to stay here at the hotel. So, yeah, we just like hit it off right away, and just, he would call me or I'd call him, and he'd say, hey, Ken, what are you and Rita doing for dinner tonight? It's like, what did you have in mind? And he goes, well, Terry and I are going to go. We're going to have dinner at the casino, or we're going to go, one of the local restaurants. You guys want to join us? It's like, couldn't say yes, sir, fast enough. And yeah, we just hit it off like that. And then he started inviting me to go to some of the different local events, whether it was Memorial Day or Veterans Day events in Gallup, or in Albuquerque at the New Mexico Veterans Memorial.
Yeah.
And just started hanging out with him. And then, as his wife's health started to go down, and then she couldn't travel with him as much, then I started traveling with him, either myself, and I know you met Joe Anello, his dear friend Joe Anello, and Joe went to a lot with Hersey. And
yeah, Joe definitely did a lot until he passed.
For
his
sure.
health wasn't
I
able
got to know him quite well too, and his wife Joan, and just just had a good time with those guys, and just to sit there and listen to their stories of you know, not so much even of course, the war stories, they would share some of that, but just their stories of their events together. And then,
Mhm.
then we got to be a part of that, sitting around with, with their families and listening to them share stories. And
Well, let's go back to your history, because you gave me a coin a long time ago of your ancestor, Paul
my,
Riege.
my grandfather. Yes, sir.
Oh, it's your grandfather.
Yeah.
God, yeah, that's right. Your grandfather in Belleau Woods in World War
Yeah.
One.
He was 16. Well, the story that my grandmother had told me, World War I had kicked off, it started, we had joined our part, the Americans had, we got into the war.
Mm-hmm.
And he grew up in rural Ohio, Brookville, Ohio. And his older brother and, some of the other boys, and, it's like, oh, we're going to go fight the war. We're going to, defeat the Huns. So they all went to go join the army. Well, he went with them too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then his older brother, I never got to meet him. His name was Otto Garfield Riege.
Right.
And I always tell people, if you didn't know I was German, all you have to do is hear, someone named Otto Garfield Riege. That can't get much more German than that.
No.
But, they all went to the army recruiter, and, being a big brother, he told the recruiter, this, my little brother's too young. He's only 16.
Right.
So they went and take him. So a day or two later, my grandfather went on his own, but he went to he didn't want to go back to the same place that he went to before. So he went to the Marines, and instead of telling him his birthday was 7 June 1900, he said it was 7 June 1898, and they needed bodies. And, do you swear to that? Yes, I do. Sign here. And
so he was 16 years old when he joined up.
Yeah, he was born on 7 June 1900, and he joined the Marine Corps on 19 April 1917.
Jeez.
Yeah, so he was still only 16 years, almost 17, but still he was only 16 years old.
Right.
And ended up getting assigned to the 1st Battalion, 5th Marines, and was at Belleau Woods and Second Battle of the Marne, and then the Meuse Argonne. And he was wounded in action twice. And then one thing I didn't know about him, and nobody in the family knew either, because he didn't talk much about it, was that there was a friend of mine had done some research, and she brought me back some information from where they keep all the records in St. Louis.
Yep.
And on those records that she brought back was a copy of a telegram that his mother had received, that I never met her either. It would have been my great grandmother, telling her that, we regret to inform you that, Private Paul Emerson Riege has been listed as missing in action. We find out anything else, we'll let you know. And so when I was looking at that, and then when my wife had looked at that, and she started crying, I was like, what's wrong? And she goes, I never met, never really met a whole lot of people. I never met your grandfather, never met her, my great grandmother, of course, but she was, just as a mother myself, I just can't imagine what that poor lady, the pain that she was going through. You get this telegram in the mail and it was saying the date of that was in July, that he was listed as missing in action. But then, it was some date in July, but then the telegram was addressed in August. So it was like even a month later.
A couple months, yeah.
Yeah. So it was like, no idea if her son's living or dead. And, so many people that were killed during that war. I'm sure the worst thing was going through her mind. But thankfully, of course, wouldn't be here if you hadn't made it back.
Yeah, and even back then, they didn't send an officer and a chaplain to the house. It was the telegram guy.
Yeah,
showed
exactly.
up. Western Union showed up and delivered the telegram that you passed.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you did a really nice job on these, and I'm guessing Dale made these. Dale Punch.
Oh yeah, Dale Punch. And when I
at
first talked to him about doing that coin, and it was, of course, traveling at an event with Hersey, probably, I think we were at Gainesville, and I was talking with Dale and asking about doing a coin for my grandfather, and he goes, "Hey, I'd love to do that. I've never done a coin for a World War I vet before." So yeah, so it was really cool putting that coin together with Dale, and I think it did. Awesome. It came out really nice.
It did. You come from, for Marines, Belleau Woods, is Iwo Jima, Belleau Woods. Come on, you sons of bitches! You want to live forever?
Yeah,
it's a very famous battle for the Marines. And that's how we, of course, got Trufflehunden from the legend.
Oh yeah.
That the Germans said we were devil dogs. We fought
Yeah.
like the devil dogs from hell.
Yeah.
Trufflehunden. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's really cool. So, over the years, I've got some cool photos. Gainesville, when we talk about Gainesville, I just interviewed Bob Patterson. So I
He
had
was just
this,
here.
yeah, for the funeral.
Yeah.
And you know what? That killed me because I had to fly. And
Oh yeah.
as an instructor, I had to go out. They build the schedule 2 months in advance, and then the month prior, then they fit the guys in there, and you can't. It's like death to get off. So I'm sorry I missed that funeral for Hersey.
Well, I know how much Hersey meant to you and how much you meant to Hersey, and the family is planning. And anytime that you're
I'm coming
able to
out
make
there.
it out this way, we'll definitely go out and pay our respects. And
that'd be cool. Well, Gainesville does a big Medal of Honor celebration every year, and they would have Jeeps and stuff, and I bring the ferret up there, and there's a picture of Bob and the ferret.
Oh yeah.
But what's fun is the year that I brought Scott and his. Well, here you guys are at another. That's Gainesville, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you're in the back of the Jeep. World War II Jeeps are cool. They're a dime a dozen. Everybody's got one. But when you look at the ferret, where I've got a picture of, give me 1 second. I've got a picture of Hersey sitting in. There we go. Sitting in the ferret, ready to go. And he was excited to ride.
Yeah.
You remember getting him up in there was slow moving, but once he got up there, he enjoyed the hell out of that.
He was so excited about that. And then afterwards, he just kept. You should have gone with this, Ken. It's like, you probably couldn't have got me inside of that thing. I'd have been like Winnie the Pooh stuck in a hole there or something.
It is a very tight fit. I got to tell you, I had Linda and Bob sitting up in the seat with me, and you can see the two of them there. He put the Medal of Honor around Jake's neck.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I had that photograph blown up, and then I had Bob sign it for Jake.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm like, Jake, 10 years old. Jake's not going to really understand what that means. When he's older, he will one day. Uncle Bob put the Medal of Honor around his neck. That was kind of cool.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And then you got to. I remember SkyBall. Hey, who wants to go fly on the helicopter over to the event?
Yeah. Well, yeah, when they and it was probably you that had set all that up for us. And Hersey's like, I don't know if he ever had flown in. Of course, I had never flown in a helicopter or anything. Yeah. And before we were going to go, because Retha's like, I'll just ride over with somebody. I don't know if I want to ride in that thing. So right as we were getting signing the release forms, and she goes, I kind of want to go with you guys. I was like, sure. So she had to sign a release form, and he just had such a good time. We were sitting there, got the doors open, and I'm just, can't imagine.
Was that the trip that Bob Cradle, Bruce Cradle was flying the helicopter? Were you on that one with Bruce?
No, Will Swenson and Ron Schur, they were the other two recipients.
Oh, okay.
On the helicopter with us.
There was one where Bruce Crandall got in there to fly the helicopter over. And some of the guys were like, I'm not flying with Bruce. When's the last time he flew a helicopter in Vietnam? But I tell you what, he got in there. Bruce got in there just like it was yesterday. And
oh, wow. That's cool.
Took that thing off and flew it over. Did a great job. So
yeah,
I'd fly with him any day, twice on Sunday.
But yeah, when we got over it, when we landed, Hersey looked at me, he goes, was that it? I was like, did you think they were going to fly you around Dallas? And he goes, well, I was kind of hoping it had been a little longer flight. And I said, well, they're not going to take any chances with you three guys on here. They got 3 Medal of Honor recipients on there. It's like, we'll just get to where we need to go. And, but it was so cool. I never had done anything like that. And of course, for Retha and I to get to experience that with Hersey, and of course, 2 other recipients on there too. Yeah,
I mean, you like myself, we've had the the honor of meeting all these gentlemen. That's a great shot right there.
Yeah, at the White House. That was so much. I mean, again, because Hershey invited me to go with them to Annapolis to their Medal of Honor convention.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and a lot of, most of the events, you fly out on a Wednesday. Well, he had asked me earlier, probably, I don't know, a month or two before this event. And he goes, hey, have you ever met a president of the United States? It's like, no, sir, I've never had the opportunity to. He goes, well, would you like to? I said, of course, that'd be awesome to get to meet, the leader of the free world. And
yeah,
he goes, well, we get the opportunity to. He goes, but we have to leave on Tuesday instead of Wednesday. Do you want to go? And it's like, of course. So he, he did all the paperwork and got everything squared away. And, it was just, it was, there at the hotel, and, Secret Service is going through, checking all of us. And then they got us all, and it's interesting. You've been to a lot of events, and if you got 30 or 40 Medal of Honor recipients, kind of moving in the same direction, that's quite an accomplishment.
Sure. Herding cats.
Yeah. Herding cats. And then, they're like, okay, now nobody can go to the bathroom. It's like, why would you tell that to a bunch of guys? Now we can, now everybody wants to go.
Yeah. Old guys too.
Yeah.
I gotta pee. I mean, I took a cup of coffee a half hour ago.
That's the first thing we want to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we got over there, and I caught myself thinking, it's like before we got to to go around and meet President Trump, I was like, look what you're at. Look what you're getting to do, and who else can get to do this? You're right here with with Hershey and having a glass of wine, and you got 30 some Medal of Honor recipients there with you, and you become good friends with a lot of them, and
yeah,
it's like who just so blessed. Was standing there talking with Leroy Petrie and looked around. It's like painting a President Kennedy right behind us, and got a picture with Leroy there, and then then as they were lining us up to go in, I had in my mind, I want to thank the president, because earlier in the year, since that was 2018, earlier in the year when the president from France had come over, they had planted some trees there at the White House grounds from Belleau Woods.
Oh, I didn't.
And I wanted to tell the president, thank you for doing that. My grandfather was at Belleau Woods, and I had that. I was playing it over my head. How am I going to say it? How am I going to say it? They opened the doors, and of course, Woody was first, since he was the only one World War II, and then Hershey, and then I think then Ron Rosser was behind Hershey. So we're like second in line to go in. We start walking in. You're kind of looking around. It's like, oh wow, this is a beautiful place. And then you look, and it's like, that's the president of the United States. And I was just honored to meet you, sir. And I just everything I wanted to say just flew out of my head. And
sure. But
yeah, and it was, he was very gracious, and we had a real nice time, and went in and sat down, chatted. He did his talk. Well, then that part was over, and like I said before, they told us we couldn't go to the bathroom. And Hershey's like, I got to go to the bathroom. So I said, well, we'll find a place. So finally get on we went to the one elevator we came up on, and there was a Secret Service guy standing there saying, you can't get on this elevator. And it's like, what do you mean we can't get on this elevator? Hershey, they said there's like a freight elevator. You can go down on that one. So we went down. They were telling us where the bathroom was at, the little library there. So I'm walking, pushing Hershey, because it was just easier for him to be in a wheelchair, because
sure.
So much walking. And they got coming up, on both sides, there's these Secret Service men all lined up. One turns around, he goes, you have to wait. And he's like, this is a Medal of Honor recipient. He doesn't wait on anyone.
Yeah.
And I said, he really needs to take care of some business. And the guy looked at him. He goes, sir, can you wait a few moments? And he goes, oh yeah, I'm fine. So we're just kind of like, okay, what's going on? Well, then that elevator door that they told us we couldn't get on opens up. Out comes a Secret Service person, Secret Service man. And then out comes President Trump out of that elevator. So Hershey stands up. We're standing there at attention. And the guy, President Trump walks by, and he points. He goes, hey, Hershey, how you doing? Doing well, sir. And I said, hello, Mr. President. And he goes, hi. And he just waved at us and walked. He was going to a different event.
Right.
Well, he got Hershey, took care of his business, and then went back upstairs. And then they had taken that group picture. And then I was thinking to myself, oh man, you had your phone in your pocket. You should have taken it out. Mr. President, can I get a picture with you? And then I thought about, you're standing there, shoulder to shoulder with some heavily armed Secret Service agents. I don't think sticking your hand in your pocket would have been the best thing to do.
Yeah,
Might have made,
you got checked before you even went in there. They had no doubt.
Might have made for a better story, but it was just, I always just thought that was funny that, wonder what would have happened. I mean, yeah, I'm sure it was like he wouldn't be in here if he wasn't cleared, but it was just such a cool event. And,
when did Hersey, you ever catch any conversations between Hersey and Ron Rosser?
Well, most of the time, and Ron, when you're around Ron, you just listened.
Yeah.
You really didn't get a chance to talk too much. The first time I'd met Ron and Hersey, it was the very first trip I actually flew with Hersey, and it was in Quad City, Illinois, and they were having their state Korean War veterans convention, and they had invited all the Korean War Medal of Honor recipients, and Hersey and Ron were the only ones that were able to, health-wise, able to make the trip.
Right.
So Hersey was telling me, he goes, "You're going to meet a very interesting person." He's, of course, was extremely excited and honored to meet him. He's a Korean War Medal of Honor recipient. His name's Ron Rosser, and Ron's a great guy, but he loves to talk. And when we had got there, and that was just right after they had both received their the Korean War Medal of Honor.
Yeah.
The South Korea Medal of Honor, excuse me. And so both of them, they had the sash on and stuff, and just listening to them too, just, and Ron, Ron, Hersey, do you remember how many people you killed in Korea? That Ron, I wasn't counting. I didn't count them. Well, I must have killed, 10,000 people while I was in Korea. And just,
he did. I loved listening. I mean, Hersey was very modest and quiet about any of that stuff, but Ron, he did not care. He would.
Oh, I know.
He would tell you, I killed so many Koreans and Chinese, and I did this and I did that, but it was just amazing to think about the guy that he was at that time. Jumping down into a foxhole or, his machine gun pit, just getting overrun by bodies. I mean, that's what they did. They just tried to kill you by attrition, having enough guys overtake you. Ron and both Hersey and Ron, when you read Hersey's book on how he did his event handled that night, both men, fantastic heroes, just incredible guys who what do they say? Ordinary guys who do extraordinary things.
Exactly. Yeah. But when we would go to events, then I'd tell Hersey, "Oh, there's Ron. Oh yeah, let's go sit next to Ron." Or if he'd see Woody first, he's like, "Oh, let's go sit with Woody." And sometimes all three of those guys would be together. And
that's a great photo right there.
That's when I was at
where was that?
Veterans Day, and Hersey invited me to go with him, and it was for the 100th anniversary of for the very first armistice parade, that they had in New York City. So we were going to be a part of the Veterans Day parade. And again, it was cool because, the president, first lady President Trump and first lady were there. And we didn't really get a chance to visit with them because they were, kind of up on stage. But and it was just neat. He was pointing at the recipients, waving at them. And then I'm sitting there waving. And then Melania, she kind of looked at me and waved. And it's like, oh, I got a wave from the first lady.
Yeah.
And, but the day before, we had gone to, is it Long Island? That's there in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
And to a cemetery, because they had been looking for, when I say they, it's like Brent and his family, for one of the guys that was with Woody on Iwo Jima that, he'd made, the gentleman made the ultimate sacrifice. But they had been looking for his gravesite because Woody wanted to visit it, and they finally had found it. And so they went, that we got to go for that, and for Woody to pay his respects, and all of us to pay our respects. And then both of them had talked. Woody was already scheduled to talk at this, it was like an event there at the cemetery. And then they asked Hersey if he'd like to get up and say a few words. He goes, "Yeah, I'll say a few words." And then when we left from there, it was kind of an impromptu thing that was at a Marine Corps League they were having, their kind of a late, I guess, of just the day after Marine Corps birthday celebration, Veterans Day celebration thing. So we stopped, and people kind of come up like, "Can we help you?" Or all of a sudden you got all these cars pulling up to their event that they didn't know, and now you got Woody hopping out, and you got Hersey hopping out, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you guys come on in!" So that was just really, that at these, their event, their veteran, this Marine Corps group, their event, they got to have 2 Medal of Honor recipients, just kind of a surprise visit. And
well, I love just, seeing the two of those guys hanging out. And when Woody passed, Godspeed Woody. I remember Hersey saying, I have the honor of being the oldest recipient now. I'm like,
yeah,
wow. And he goes, no, that's not a good thing, Taco. That means I'm up to die next.
yeah.
I'm like, oh.
He told me, he's like, because I had told him, so, well, I guess you're the oldest living recipient now. And he goes, you know what, Ken, I don't think I want that title, because whoever gets that title doesn't hold it very long.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And unfortunately, you get into your 90s and great health like Hersey had, and Woody. It's just one event that turns the light switch off. And
yeah,
it's not cancer that gets you. It's just God calls you back at that time.
Yeah.
But I mean, look at this. That's a great photo of you all at one of the events.
I think that was in Annapolis, I believe. Yeah. At the dinner.
You guys look sharp.
And just,
man.
And his smile.
He was always so happy.
Thing.
He was always so happy. Just sit and talk to you. Because I think I've got a photograph. This was on the day that you all.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Down there at breakfast, and he goes, "Come over here. I got something for you." And he gave me his coin, and then you gave me this, which hangs on the wall next to the coin collection. And for the folks out there, it's a beautiful wooden plaque, and it's signed by Hersey. It has, it has his citation stuff down on it, and then other coins that they had made for Hersey. The only thing missing on this is my friend Ken signing the back and autographing it to let us know.
We'll square that away.
Yeah, when I come out there, I am going to come out there this spring.
Oh, for sure.
Make time to come out, and
it'd be a great honor to have you out here, my friend.
Trying to decide whether I'm going to drive out or fly out, but I'm going to bring that with me and have it wrapped in bubble wrap.
Alrighty.
It hangs on the wall over there. Bob Patterson gave me one. It's on the other side, and Hersey's is on the right, and Bob's is on the left. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, when we made that one coin too, well, of course it has his very first coin, and then the one below with this picture, and that picture you just kind of showed a few moments before with Hersey and I together, because when he wanted to make, I think we were at Gainesville, and I can't remember if it was Bob Patterson or Joe Marm has shown Hersey, I think it was Joe Marm, has shown Hersey, hey, Hersey, did you see my new coin that Dale made? And it had his picture on it, Colonel Marm's picture on it. And then Hersey's like, oh, I haven't seen those. And he goes, yeah, a lot of the guys are making these new coins with our picture. So then later, Hersey's like, yeah, Ken, I want to make one like that. Get with Dale. You got a bunch of pictures of me, find one.
Yeah.
So that one, it captured his, and Rita took that picture. And he had just finished talking with one of the Air Force Air National Guard units that would stay at the hotel. And everybody, of course, wants to get a picture with Hersey. We're kind of done. And then she's like, well, you guys, let me get a picture of you guys together. So we're just kind of standing there. And she goes, well, at least smile like you like each other. And then we bust out laughing. So, she got that picture.
Yeah, that is that picture. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, of course, I thought nobody wants a coin with my face on it. So, of course, cropped me out of there.
Right.
Showed him that picture that I wanted to use on that coin. He goes, yeah, that's a nice picture. So that's where that one, and he really, really liked that coin. And he said, now people will remember what I look like. I especially if I give this coin to a kid, and they may not remember, 20 years later, who was that guy that gave me this coin? He goes, but now they'll have my picture and they'll remember what I look like.
True statement.
And then the one below it and that was a picture with when he received his medal.
Oh, yeah.
the 7 recipients plus Eisenhower. I keep one of those in my wallet because I figure if anybody ever wants to do a Medal of Honor or do a challenge coin challenge with me, I got them beat. I got 7 Medal of Honor recipients plus a president. So I don't think I'd be paying for too many drinks with that coin.
No. That coin would trump them all.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do we got here? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was at also for the Veterans Day parade in New York City. And that was like the breakfast we were having before, the parade started.
Let's see. Who is on your right? That's Carey?
Carey, yes, sir. Yeah.
Carey.
Bob Carey?
Bob Carey.
Yeah. And he's such a nice guy. I never had met him, and he's just such a neat guy.
All of them. I have loved all the time that I spent with the recipients.
Oh, for sure. Any one of them.
I sure do miss that job.
That was so. The one gentleman, let me see. Well, he's standing kind of. Well, let's see. It would be to my left. Well, my left shoulder.
Yeah, right side of the photo.
Next to him in the blue. Looks like he has a run for the wall, blue cap on. His name is David Palomares, and he's really, really good friends with John Baca and Monsoon. And he does a lot of a lot of stuff for veterans out in Camp Pendleton, for the Marines and for veterans out there. And he's another one too that, just from knowing Hersey and getting to know so many great people, I would have never gotten the honor of meeting you if it had not been for Hersey, at the travels. Yeah. But I think it was Monsoon had told David, well, if you're ever passing through Gallup, New Mexico, stop at my buddy's hotel. You're just going to love it. And David and I, we just hit it off. And, he's a great guy. And he also served in the 1-5. He was in during Vietnam. And, we had that, I guess, common, my grandfather being in the 1-5 in World War I, and then him being in Vietnam. And we just hit it off. And
he's a great guy to talk to.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at getting him on.
So, and they come down here a lot, and they love to take pictures with those alien glasses. So, we're sitting there, and Hersey had his medal, and, he brought his medal out and let one of the, and the people he always hangs out with, they're all veterans. And one of them got to put, I think David actually did at that time, put Hersey's medal on. And so then they said, well, can we get a picture with everybody with these glasses on? And Hersey said, yeah, sure, let's do it. And he loved a good laugh. And
when did he go skydiving?
That was on his 92nd. Well, he was 92, and he said it was something he always wanted to do. And even after World War II, because he was given the option, because he hadn't seen any combat. He was on his way to Europe when the war had ended. So then when they got to Italy, then they started training. He was with the 442nd Regimental Combat Team. And they started training to go to the Pacific. Well, then the war ended in the Pacific. So they ended up pulling guard duty and guarding German prisoners and Italian prisoners. Well, after that, and they gave him the opportunity to re-enlist, which he did. And he wanted to join the paratroopers. And he goes, and they told me, you're too light. You'll never come down. So he didn't get to join the paratroopers, but he said it was always something he wanted to do. And I was like, what, jump out of a perfectly good airplane?
Yeah.
So, and the original plan was, because Hersey had told him, he goes, I'll go if Ken goes with me. This was like 6 months before. Oh yeah, sure, I'll go with you. Well, as we started, the dates kind of getting a little closer. And I was like, oh my gosh, do I really want to do this? So I chickened out, but it worked out better because then his granddaughter, Marissa, who had she graduated from the Air Force Academy, and her and her husband are both majors now in the Air Force.
Yeah.
She got to go.
That's cool.
And I think she was at Moody Air Force Base at the time, which I believe is in Georgia. And she got to go with her grandfather and, to have that memory with him. And, that was like.
This is, I see the American Airlines patch on there. This has to be the guys that would always do the jumps at SkyBall.
I'm guessing. I know the person that Hersey was, I don't want to say strapped to, but connected to. I believe he also had gone jumping with President Bush.
Yes.
And I want to say it was on his 90th birthday.
Yep.
And the gentleman told him, he goes, I'm more nervous jumping with you than I was with the president. And Hershey, he told me later, he goes, I never told anybody this. He goes, but the guy had told me, and he goes, and I didn't want to tell anybody to get anybody worried, but the guy was having a little bit of trouble with the chute. And he goes, he had almost was like the point where he was going to, because Hershey, of course, had his own chute on too.
Right.
To disconnect him, but pull Hershey's chute. And then he goes, I guess he would have just, bought the farm or however you call it. He would have just gone in.
No. They were tandem.
I don't know what
they were tandem. He would have.
But he said, yeah. He goes, the other guy he goes, he might have just been doing it to kind of scare me a little bit, but he said he was having a little bit of trouble with his chute. But they finally got it open, and he probably was just telling her that scare him a bit. But
have a little fun with them.
Yeah,
these are great shots. What are you guys doing here? You got a bottle of wine. Is it not playing Go? What's in that crate?
Well, they're little chocolate miniatures, and each one of them, there was one of them that had Crown Royal, and Hershey loved Crown Royal, but they had like different liqueurs in each one of those chocolates.
Right.
So we were just trying different ones, and here, let's try this one. Here, let's try that one. And Rita was, she was there too, and she was just looking at the table, and there you got a bottle of wine, open bottle of wine. And in that picture, in that frame there, the picture was a real cool picture of Hershey and Jerry Murphy, who was another Korean War Medal of Honor recipient. Never got to meet Murphy, but Hershey and him were best of friends. And Murphy was probably about 6'2" or so. He was a good sized guy. But the picture was taken, I think Hershey said they were in Boston, but they were walking around a park, and they were trying to get each other, tired. Who's gonna give out first? They probably had a bet. Whoever says, oh, I can't do it anymore, has to buy the beer. I don't know, or something, that has to pay for dinner. So it was just a picture of the back, just from behind Hershey and Murphy, and it's just such a really neat picture.
Right. And
then you got his medal sitting there, and then we're just trying these different chocolates with the different liqueurs in them, and
that's so cool.
Yeah, and we would always say that, it was always, of course, a great honor to get to travel with him, to go to the different places and different events and get to meet so many amazing people. But just hanging out like that, just hanging out at his house, and
just an average day. Yeah.
Yeah, just listening to his stories, or going over on Sundays and watching football. And he loved football. That was at one of the Miyamura High School football games. He loved to cheer on his Patriots.
You did. I love this. I love the spirit he always had, and I love the shirt.
Yeah,
I wear it all the time. Miyamura, here we go. You know what? We've been on for about 40 minutes. I wondered if you could give us a little tour of your collection outside or around your office there, the conference room. Folks, if you drive through Gallup, stay at this hotel, come check out this stuff. Ken, the title is what makes this a great country. And the reason I love you so much is your patriotism and what you do to promote the military. You never let people forget. You and I are vets, so you're not going to let somebody forget. But the fact that the average person that comes in and stays in the hotel is going to be able to see this stuff. So, here's a photo looking down on just some of the neat things that you have, and your Medal of Honor collection of recipients that you've met and guys that have sent you stuff is just phenomenal.
Yeah, and the story I'd heard on that with that challenge, the when it first got to me was I've had that one probably about 5 years now, but I think it was maybe 10 years prior to that, give or take. And that I guess the society, and probably 90 to 95% of those coins are Dale Punch coins, but they had reached out to the recipients and asking them to donate. I think there was 110 living recipients at that time. They heard back from, I think, 104, 105 of them to donate that many coins. And then they put these collections together and sent them to each of the recipients. So they each had a challenge coin of their fellow Medal of Honor recipients.
Oh,
And
wow.
then Hershey's like, I remember getting that collection, and he donated his collection to the high school, to Miyamura High School. Well, John, of course, it had gone to John Baca, and then the story was he had given it to Monsoon, and then they told me, well, it just sits in a closet, nobody sees it.
Yeah.
Would you like to have it? It's like, oh, yes, sir, yeah, sure thing. So when I got that, it's like, oh my gosh, and Hershey was there. It was during Run for the Wall, and some people had brought it, some friends of John and Monsoon's, because they weren't able to make the trip. So we just sat there just looking at the coins, and then Hershey just, he would, of course, first he looked, he goes, okay, my coin's in there. And just pointing out the different coins. Oh, I remember this guy, and just telling stories about, his fellow recipients. And then, like you said, too, I've had so many, other, whether it's family members that, of a recipient that maybe they, got their medal posthumously, but they ended up doing a coin to honor that person, would send me a coin, or, just Hershey too, when he was deciding, okay, I'm going to go ahead and live with my daughter, and he was going through his stuff and cleaning out stuff. And
yeah,
he's like, here, Ken, here's a box of challenge coins, go through them and make sure you take all the Medal of Honor coins for yourself. And that's how I got a lot of coins like that too. And it's just a one of a kind, amazing.
It is amazing collection. Can you pick your camera up, your tablet, and walk around, give a little tour, or no?
Sure. Yes, sir. I'll try to, I won't go too. We're in our, can you still hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. We're in our conference room at the Comfort Suites in Gallup. And this one, we call it our Navajo Code Talker room. So I want to turn around this way, or I don't know if I should go. So here's a quilt that was given to me by David Palomares. Ooh. And it's different pictures of some of the Navajo Code Talkers.
Right.
And of course, I got to become real close friends with a lot of those guys. Probably the one, let me find him on here. Come on, where are you? Oh, this one up here. Let me see if I can.
Yep.
His name was Roy Hawthorne. Actually had a doctorate degree in theology. And
oh, wow.
Yeah, he was just such a neat man, and it's just so well spoken. And you get him and Hershey together. And one time I was sitting with Dr. Hawthorne, and he was telling me, he goes, you know what, Ken, life is interesting. I was there in World War II, island hopping like the rest of them. You'd get in some foxhole and you'd have some guy in there, or you'd hear about it that, like, where am I at? And they'd kind of poke their whole head up a little bit out of the foxhole, boom, get zapped. 1 second somebody's there, the next second they're gone.
Right.
Never got a scratch, nothing. Came home, went to college, got my degree in theology, my bachelor's degree. Well, then Korea came around. He goes, I want to serve my country again. But he joined the Army, and he was also in the 3rd Infantry Division, the same unit that Hershey was in.
Uh-huh.
He goes, I was in Korea 6 months, and I lost my leg from a mortar round.
Oh.
So I came home. He goes, you figure I was there at World War II and didn't get a scratch. I go to Korea, and he goes, not that it was any less of a war. And he goes, and then, 6 months, I lost my leg.
Right.
He goes, I came home, went back to school, ended up getting my doctorate degree in theology. And he goes, and while I'm very proud, of course, of my military service, he goes, I know I did more for mankind, being a minister than I ever did serving in the military. And it was he was such a great man just to listen to him. And I'm real close friends with his son, Regan, and Regan served in the 82nd Airborne during Desert Storm. And they're just such a really neat family.
Yep.
So
I got you on widescreen, so we'll be able to see some of your stuff here. Yeah.
And most people have probably
Code
seen that
Talker.
movie, Wind Talkers.
Wind Talkers, yeah.
So here's some other pictures.
Oh, wow. Nice paintings.
Kind of a little bit of glare, I guess, from the lights, but
no, I can see. It's nice.
This came, you'll like this one. When Dale Punch's Marine Corps group was here, and got that wooden flag there from him.
Oh, sweet.
So
you have some really nice artwork.
And then this one's a real cool picture. I don't know if you can see Jay Vargas back here in the middle.
Uh-huh.
It was probably one of the first events we had here at the hotel. And we had a bunch of the Code Talkers were here, and Colonel Vargas was here. and it was for an event for Navajo Code Talker Day, and he was the keynote speaker. You know, we had a cookout and, you know, meet and greet thing at the hotel. Well, then it was time to wrap everything up, and everybody got, you know, kind of there, and they were taking pictures. So then Colonel Vargas, he's like, "Come on, Ken, stand up here with us." I was like, "Oh, you're gonna let this Air Force guy stand with you guys?" He goes, "Well, this one time we will." So he's like, "Okay, Marines, let's sing the Marine Corps hymn." And while most people, you kind of, even, you know, like myself, I may not know the full Air Force hymn, but most people know the Marine Corps hymn.
Sure.
So everybody in the lobby, they're singing it. It's like, oh, this is really cool. Well, then this gentleman here, his name's Thomas Begay, and he's still with us. There's only 3 code talkers that are still with us now.
Uh-huh.
But then Thomas Begay is like, "Okay, code talkers, let's sing it in Navajo." So then they sang the Marine Corps hymn in Navajo, and I tell you what, there wasn't a dry eye in the place when that happened. But Thomas Begay and then Peter McDonald, and then I'll show you another picture. His name's John Kinzel. Those are the last 3 of our Navajo code talkers.
I thought they had all passed.
Well, they're the last of the original one, and I was going to show you this picture here. His name was Chester Nez.
Mm-hmm.
And they would call the group the original 29, because that's what when the program had started, that was the initial group. And then it was proven that, hey, this works. Then they recruited more, and altogether there were 420.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a few more, some different pictures, and a lot of these too, they've come from family members. And I'm trying to find more information out on these, because when they had done this collection, these, you know, paintings of the different code talkers, there was, I think, about 10 of them at the time.
Uh-huh.
So I've gotten 4 of them. And this gentleman here, his name's John Kinzel, and he's still with us. Actually, his daughter is my weekend breakfast bar attendant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she only works part-time because with Social Security, stuff like that, she can't really do as many hours. So I'm going to go out here in the hallway, trying to see what's going on out in the lobby. Maybe I'll just show a few things. Well, here's another really amazing quilt that David Palomares had, and it's of different Medal of Honor recipients. I got lucky to be on the quilt.
Ah, you made it.
Yeah,
that's cool.
That was at a graduation ceremony at our high school. Oops, I got my finger in the way. Sorry. So here's some other pictures, and kind of down this hallway here, there's a lot of honoring our Vietnam brothers and sisters.
Is that right down there with the American flag? Is that a bloodshed?
Yes, sir. Let me get it. Trying to get it on there.
Yeah.
Well, when last year, was it last year or the year before, when had gone out to California and you worked it out with your friend to where we could take a tour of the Midway.
Oh, Midway, right.
They had, there was one of those within there, and I had taken a picture of it, and it's like, I'm gonna get one of those. So I got one off of eBay.
Yeah, that's cool.
So here's another kind of a neat picture here from the that was the 2019 medal. I didn't get to make it to that one, the Medal of Honor convention. But they'd given each of the recipients a white tuxedo jacket. And then John Baca donated his.
Oh, that's so cool. Good job.
Yeah, he gave me his tuxedo. So let's never got you probably did you meet Richard Pittman?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I never had the honor of meeting him, but his widow, she sent me that picture and a coin and then a signed citation.
Yeah. Wow.
And then here's kind of another collection been kind of recently putting together. And it's a different Air Force Medal of Honor that were posthumous Medal of Honor recipients. So then some pictures from the tomb.
I feel sorry for your maid who has to, for the gal that has to clean and dust.
Well, and that's what's so interesting too. It's just, everybody just, they appreciate, and they know how unique this hotel is. And Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, very nice.
Collection. And looks like they've done some cleaning out here. The coin collection that it's kind of blocked off right now. But this is another really unique collection here.
Oh, the hands. I
Yeah.
love the photos of everybody holding the medal.
Yeah. And then there's Hershey's right there.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it got started. I don't know if you can. Oh, shit. Did I lose you?
Yep. Okay, turn the video back on.
Yeah, sorry about that.
There you go.
Okay, sorry about that. So the one up there at the top, the red one,
Yeah.
that's Pete Lemons. So was it Ruben Archuleta had brought that to me, and then we were going to go visit with Hershey.
Yeah.
So I said, "Hey, get a picture of Hershey holding his medal." So he did that and had a canvas print made, and then that the light bulb kind of had went off, and it's like, this could be really something really cool.
That's
So
unique.
John
Yeah.
Rocca, he sent me a picture of him holding his medal, and then it just kind of went from there, just asking the different recipients if I could get a picture of them holding their medal. And the one that people really ask a lot about too, of course, is Leroy Petrie's.
Yeah, Leroy.
Yeah.
Yeah, his hand's phenomenal.
So, and then here's some other Woody Williams.
Oh, the ship. Yeah.
Yeah, a picture, nice picture of Woody, and yeah, the ship, and then trying to the bobblehead. Woody Williams. Now this one's a really cool one that I know you'll get a kick out of too. And David had made this, and well, I'd seen pictures on his Instagram of this chair that he was having made, and I was like, man, that's a really cool chair. And he goes, well, I'm glad you like it because I'm making it for you. So, I don't know if you can see it or not.
Oh yeah. Wow.
And then some ceramic bulldog there.
Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Then,
Well, I can't wait to come to the hotel and check all this out.
And then I just be so cool. Yeah, I can't wait to have you come here and visit. And oops, sorry, I keep putting my thumb over that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of the quick. They're doing some kind of wrapping everything up out there in the lobby, the breakfast attendant. So some of the stuff we're able to, just kind of maneuver some things around, and some things are kind of blocked off. But
well, I tell you what, I'll put the address. Text me the address, and I'll make sure it's in the comments. So people are driving through New Mexico, they can swing north and go hit Gallup, go stop by, and definitely check it out.
You bet. Yeah.
Yeah. Ken, great seeing you, man. Happy New Year. I hope you and your wife have a blessed New Year coming up here. Just everything that can go well goes well, my friend.
Well, thank you so much. So honored to do this, and of course to be able to chat with you today and share some Hershey stories. And yeah, it's just I miss him. I miss my buddy. That's for sure.
You know what? As long as we talk about him, he's never gone.
For sure. Yep, that's for sure.
Although the one thing I missed coming out was seeing this the house that Hershey built. So he loved his gambling, didn't he?
He loved, and he would always say, "I'm not a gambler," and that picture there was because Reetha and I we got in this past October. We got to go out to visit with him for a few days, and the casino that was near where he lived with his daughter Kelly and son-in-law Clay, and so we got to hang out and do it was like old times hanging out at the casino, and he's trying to explain the strategy on how to win on the slot machines, and I don't I don't know much if there's much of a strategy on that.
There's not strategy, man. They're taking my money one way or the other.
But he loved to do that, and just to sit there with him. We just watch him, and and then he's like, "Are you guys not playing?" It's like, "Well, you always told us not to put money in here. Here, I'll put some money in there for you." And it was funny because at that time when we were there, and so he put a 20 in, sitting here, and then Reetha was sitting on the other side. And he put a 20 in that one. Go ahead and play some. we ended up doing all right. I think between the
Really?
two of us, we, ended up like a little over $100.
Not
So we
bad.
started to give him the tickets back. He goes, "No, you keep that." Because when we were headed home the next day, we were going to stop he knew we were going to stop in Sedona. And he goes, "You know what? Have a nice lunch on me in Sedona tomorrow." So we did. We used that money from, those machines and we had a really nice lunch. And, plans, of course, were, we're going to go back sometime this, like in December or in the spring, because it's such a beautiful area. But then you have to you do have to go through Flagstaff to get there.
Yeah.
And that can sometimes be pretty tricky with the weather. So like, well, we'll definitely had plans on going back to visit with him. And it was, such a beautiful area that, he was living in Cottonwood, Arizona.
Cottonwood, but he's buried up here in Gallup.
What's that?
He's buried up in Gallup, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he'd always said that too, because he goes, "I was born in Gallup." And at the cemetery, and it's it's more of a smaller family type cemetery, I guess. I didn't even see any military headstones out there. But it's his mom and his dad, and then his wife. It's kind of like a family plot. And then he's laid to rest right next to his wife, Terry.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, we'll go out there and pay our respects, take some flowers.
You bet. Yes, sir.
Well, Ken, get back to work. You're the boss, but I really appreciate you taking the time off to
you bet, brother.
talk to us. And this is taped, so if anyone has any questions, I'll have to go back and answer it. But thank you so much, sir, for coming on. You give
you bet.
Give Ruth a hug for me, and
you betcha.
Tell her I miss her.
All right, you bet. Thank you so much.
All right, I'm going to pull you
brother.
off and say goodbye, and love you, man. You have a good one. We'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Hoorah!
Hoorah!
Hoorah! All right, man.
Or in the
I'll
Air Force, we probably just say 9, or was it 4? Or
yeah.
I'll have another round, please. That's our battle cry.
You're gonna play crud. All right, brother. I'll see you.
You betcha.
All right. Hey, folks. I hope you enjoyed the little tour with Ken and his hotel. If you get a chance, go out Gallup, check this out. That's absolutely what I love about Ken. He and his wife are both super patriots. They take great care of all of our veterans who go through. And if you're a vet and you go through Gallup, I guarantee you probably get a vet discount over there at Comfort and Suites. So go visit Ken and enjoy Gallup, and possibly go pay your respects to Hersey out there as well. Until I see you again, adios, hasta luego, auf Wiedersehen, tschüss, shishini, au revoir, domarigato gozaimasu, tando shindi, okurasai, ciao, arrivederci, tashakur, assalamu alaikum, mahala, do widzenia. We'll see you next week. You guys have a great one. Bye-bye.